My name is Tapel Cafer. I work with a company called Arthur J. Gallagher, which was formerly Complete Financial Balance.
All right, so I understand that's something that's happened reasonably recently, Tapel?
Yes, it happened at the beginning of this year. It was an opportunity to be part of something bigger, yet keep our culture and our team and grow something here in Australia, as they don't have presence here.
Well, that's pretty brilliant. Now, before your current iteration, can you tell us a little bit more about Complete Financial Balance, what that was?
Yeah, so the business that was 14 years old. It was started by Graham Campbell and myself 14 years ago. And then it has grown to a team of 19 or 20 over the last 13, 14 years. And the business has had a fair bit of success. Not from a size perspective, but an industry recognition perspective, because some of the things that we have done was fairly unique, which we were later to find out in the industry, and that's been due to the great culture that we created and the team we'd put together. So,
well, that's brilliant. So, firstly, tell us where the business is based and whether you specialise in any particular area.
Yep. So the business is based in Brisbane as our head office, and that's opposite the Royal Brisbane Hospital. And we'd been there a couple of years, and that's when the GFC started to hit, and we started to realise we need to be a bit smarter about business, and we realised this looming shadow outside our windows being the Royal Brisbane Hospital, which is the largest employer for Queensland Health. And we actually realised we should be specialising in the medical industry. Okay. So we redesigned our business. And what I mean by that, we actually engaged in a number of doctors who we had as clients to say, what do we need to do better to have more of your colleagues, your peers as clients?
Very good. Okay, so specialisation is an avenue that you would advocate as an advice business?
Looking back and having the fortune of looking back, the answer is yes. Because we were seen locally as the experts in that medical space. We chose to specialise in the risk space and bloodborne disease and certain definitions which we took to the insurers, because some of these definitions were not actually implemented in the contracts. So we went to all insurers, and some of the insurers accepted our recommendations, and these recommendations were on the advice of the doctors who we had engaged. So, they told us that they felt were risks in their business and there were gaps in their insurance coverage. We took those gaps to the insurers, and some of the insurers took our recommendations on, which in theory made us the architects
of those.
Brilliant.
Oh, that's really good. Now, looking at you, what's your story before Complete Financial Balance, Tapel?
Background was actually in hospitality. So okay. I come from a family of hospitality. My parents come from an ethnic background and always had restaurants. And I'd worked my way up in restaurants, clubs, and I was actually the operations manager at the Gabba, the cricket stadium. So, and it was actually there I met an advisor who believed I had the skills and the management experience, and I should get into financial services. I just happened to be studying a Bachelor of Business and doing a second major in financial planning, just due to personal interest.
What sparked that personal interest?
When I was managing a nightclub in Toowoomba when I was 21, the general manager of the venue introduced me to a financial planner, and that financial planner made sure I had all my superannuation consolidated, my correct investment choices, I had income protection, I had trauma insurance. He got me investing in managed funds. So literally by the time I was 23, I had everything that an advisor actually recommends.
Isn't it funny how people have so many different paths into the financial services industry and the advice part of the financial services?
Most definitely. So when that opportunity actually presented to me when I was at the Gabba, and he sat down and explained to me what we did, I actually already knew it all because I had practically been through it as a client. And I'd actually lost money through the Japanese stock market crash. So when you lose money, you start to pay attention. I understood about protecting my income, because that was my biggest asset, because this guy had literally educated me as a client from an advisor's perspective.
All right, so we've got you going back a fair way, but even back before that, what did you want to do when you were growing up, Tapel? It's a common question we ask.
I literally thought I'd be in hospitality because that was my background. So I naturally went into hospitality, and my personality trait suited hospitality, being a service-orientated industry. And I just didn't realise that service-orientated industry actually applied to financial services, and the experience that you provide in hospitality to a guest and to a client is actually the same experience, but in a different way in financial services.
Yeah, great point. And a lot of your peers who we've interviewed do take learnings from previous careers and apply them within the financial advice sector. Helps to make them who they are, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, I found after being in the industry now for 17, 18, 20, oh my God, it's 17, 18 years, you realise that the industry is probably broken in two. You get the real tech heads that will often sit at a square table, and it's all about their knowledge and the tech behind it all. And on the other side, you've got the service base, which is about the relationship, the empathy. So we're certainly more an empathy-based business, a service-based business, and a very relaxed approach in our style.
All right, very good. Now coming back to you, two questions, Tapel. The origin of the name Tapel, and what sort of restaurants were your family involved in?
Right, so this is quite controversial. I was born in the UK, but my mother is a Greek Cypriot. My father is a Turkish Cypriot. I immigrated out here when I was 10 with my identical twin brother, whose name is Tapel, so it's Tapel and Tapel, and we are identical twins who share the same middle name and last name, and I married a German. So you've got a Greek, Turkish, born in England, moved to Australia, married a German, visiting Gallipoli. People were very confused.
I'm puffed out just listening to you, Tapel.
I know.
Tell us about the restaurants.
So the restaurants were typical Turk. My father ran a kebab shop with the best garlic mayo, and that was in the UK, and my mother's family was in the restaurant business.
And what type of restaurants?
Literally breakfast and lunches that offered, English foods of fry-ups, typical English fry-ups and fried bread, which I never got, and all those sorts of things. So.
All right, so how'd you finish up in Brisbane then?
Finished in Brisbane because my mother moved here with my identical twin brother because of some family members here, and that was literally how we started in Brisbane, and it has been home since.
Okay, so how old were you when you moved to Brisbane?
10 when I immigrated here, and what has been great is I've travelled back to the UK probably every 2 years, and you now realise that seeing my cousins who are the same age, that the opportunities that present themselves here in Australia is huge, because the gap between what, say, we have as our family dynamics to what they have there is very different. Very difficult to get ahead there.
And you think perhaps, as is often the case, perhaps many Australians don't have the perspective of appreciating the value of the life that they live?
That's correct. They don't know because they've stayed on our shores exploring this great country and haven't left it. But experiencing that overseas life, coming from that ethnic background, which was a very poor background, certainly makes you appreciate of where you want to be. So.
All right, so when you're not working today, what are you doing, Tapel? How do you relax?
I exercise a lot.
Yep.
We, as a family, I have 3 daughters and a wife, and we are a very active family outdoors. We don't have technology at home. My children don't watch TV. I'm a terrible father and terrible parent, but they know no different. We are very outdoorsy. We always walk the dog every day. We play sports as a family unit, and we have a lot of laughter. We do not take life too seriously.
Sounds pretty great. Sounds like you're smelling one of the people that smells the roses along the journey.
Yeah, no, we're very fortunate, and we try to imprint that into our children. They need to understand that how fortunate, how lucky we are, and the memories that they have, and the countries they've visited, and the place they've gone to. They know that they have a very good life. So.
Okay, so you've opened the door there. What countries have they visited? What places have they gone to?
Well, recently we actually only got back from Queenstown last week, and what an amazing country to drink water that is 4 hours old off the glacier. 4 hours to breathe that fresh air, and yet to come back to Brisbane and actually smell the pollution, and Brisbane is not polluted, but to live in Queenstown for that period of time, and we just lived outdoors and we canoed, we horse rided, we rode our bike for 16 kilometres, we walked, we hiked, we skied, we did everything. It was a brilliant experience, and we swam in 6-degree 4-hour-old water that was crystal clear. An amazing experience.
It sounds like Queenstown would be a great place for the Tapel Cafer family.
It would do. So.
Okay, let's look forward. What's going on in the future for your business and for yourself?
So the business, it is exciting times. It comes with challenges and uncharted territory. So it certainly brings a whole new experience to every member in our team. And it is an opportunity. So we take it day by day, yet we have our vision. So we've got the mandate to grow this business nationally. We are the first acquisition for this company here in Australia in the financial services side. So we look forward to bringing other like-minded businesses, because this business globally is based on culture.
Name the company again, please.
It's called Arthur J. Gallagher.
All right, very good. And what about yourself? What's your future looking
So
like?
myself, so there is opportunities to present themselves to us, and it's our choice as to whether we want to move more into a corporate space or whether we want to stay as an advisor advising our clients. So I think we're yet to make that decision as to where we want. There's no pressure forcing us into that road, but the opportunities are certainly there for us, as in Graham, my business partner, and myself, but also all of our team have the opportunity to grow in this larger global company.
Do you have any, in closing, any messages for perhaps newer entrants to the industry, advisors looking to start their own business, to build their own business? Any closing message for them?
Yeah, accept change and embrace change, but be ahead of it. So, if we look at FOFA and all the industry change that has happened now, and when I speak to a lot of our colleagues, they're in chaos. They're in chaos, but we knew it was coming. So we adapted to change 5 or 6 years ago. And we adapted to the remuneration models 5 or 6 years ago, to the compliance models 5 or 6 years ago. Hence, this chaos has hit us. It's just business, it's BAU. So for us, we're looking for what's the next chaos. How can we prepare for it? How do we stay ahead of the pack? Because we know that will present opportunities for us.
Great message, Tapel Cafer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, opportunity.